Hey.
Hey.
What's up, lady?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a crazy busy day.
Yeah. I was supposed to call you back and I got to about 5:30 going to pick something up and I was like, I didn't call Gary back.
It's all right. It's just crazy busy day, man. You okay?
Yeah, doing good. Just all the things.
Okay.
All the things and getting ready to go do some lake stuff for 4th of July. So, all the things.
That sounds good. I'm a little jealous, but sounds good.
I'll get some water time in for you.
Please.
Well, everybody, welcome to tonight's episode of Misfits Managed.
Yeah.
Before we even get started, please like, subscribe, and share.
Share, subscribe, and like.
I gotta say, we have gotten some really, really great feedback and some contacts from listeners that have been saying that they're um, sending us to people, which I love, but yay! So like us and share us and all the things so that everybody can hear us.
Right. We appreciate you. We appreciate your support. We appreciate even more that the sharing that we do from our heart, our content, is real time, it's relevant, it's a word in season, and we're blessed that it blesses you. And we just
Absolutely.
believe it has to touch our hearts first before we can even spit it out of our mouth. So we live it, walk it, breathe it, and then speak it to y'all. So
From from the source, got a little head shake going on there. So we were chatting earlier, and it seems like all the time we come and we're just like, that was a absolutely insane busy day, and I don't know about you, but we got a couple of interests.
couple of interests.
We got just a couple.
Two is a couple. We got a couple of interests.
Only tens of couples and lots more, and
Yeah.
all the
I guess
things.
if we want to add the multiplication to it. So
Oh, there you go. All right.
we're not going by addition, we're going by multiplication.
Yeah, I don't like math. I'll let you do that. Well, I guess I got my phone. Anyway, we got lots of things going all the time, and we always talk about how the heck do we manage it all? Because half the time I don't even know.
Right.
So we're diving into that tonight.
Well, so I do a every 2 weeks, I believe it's called what do we call it? A family, kind of what you talked about with your dad doing with the
Family
family.
council.
Yeah, we do a family. I forgot what we call that. Every 2 weeks on Messenger, we do a call, and it's always the Tuesday before the call. So I've gotten on the 2 weeks ago, and so they know I'm on this show, so I'm like, I can't spend the whole time with you guys, but um, they were asking about the show and the topic for tonight, and I'm like, we have structure, but we really fly by the seat of our pants, basically, but with structure. So we're misfits. That's how we roll. But so I just telling them that tonight is all about um, how to organize yourself. How does a misfit who has all this creativity, all this passion flowing through them, how do you realm or pull all that in and organize all that, organize your thoughts, organize your activities, and be productive? Because otherwise, you're on a different gerbil wheel. You get out of the group. You get out of the group that you don't fit in. You create your own group amongst yourself and fellow misfits,
You're
and
just on a
you
wilderness.
just jump on a different gerbil wheel. I mean, we're cracking up laughing, but it's not funny because that's what we do, right?
They said they had order. They said they had organization. I'm sitting there going as a producer. They have order. I'm not sure about this. And all along those lines, but they do have order, and it is a wonderful show. And all along those lines, but I just had to jump in and everything because I do have a quick question based on what y'all just had at the beginning and conversations that I've had this day and everything along those lines. Because you talked about this call that y'all have, and I stay in regular touch with my mom and my aunt and other family members. So we talk on a regular basis. I don't know that there's a structure to it and everything. But I had a gentleman stop by the cultural center where I sometimes take from and everything. And he was trying to track down an African drumming group because he wanted them to perform at his reunion. Because apparently in his reunion, I don't know how y'all do it, but in his reunion, they have like a committee, and I'm going like a family reunion has a committee. So I was a little bit lost on this because apparently he had to put it past his committee whether they were going to hire the African drummers. And I'm going like, maybe I'm used to the fly by the seat kind of action that y'all were talking about earlier and everything, but I'm going like, there's a committee for a family reunion. But that's what he was saying, was there was a committee and all along those lines. So we had to get it past his committee. So Coach G, it seems like you're used to these committees for family reunions. It kind of caught me off guard.
Well, it's funny that you even say that because the group, and I got to shout out to my boy, my cousin, Gregory Yancey. He's saying, this is good, cousin.
Gregory.
How you doing, man? I just posted in the group chat because I can't remember the name of the group chat, but but that originated out of our generation, my age group, the cousins.
Yeah.
There's 11 of the mothers and fathers, uncles and aunts. And it's passed down now to our generation to do the family reunion. And so there's this rift between the older and the younger. They don't want to let go. We don't want to hear nothing they got to say. So it's just, this group has been created out of that because it's created a rift in the family. So 12.
Yeah, apparently there's a rift because you can't get your numbers right. Apparently math is not mathing even for you because your own cousin says that you don't have 11, but you have 12.
Okay, so there's some history that I need to recap on.
Right, get right, Coach.
That's for another show. I'll make that to have Greg on as a guest.
Yeah, that's a whole other show and everything. But yeah, that was something that caught me off guard when the gentleman said that there was this notion of a family reunion all along those lines. Before I bounce off, and I've got to ask you about a hobby for Misfits that y'all were talking about hobbies, and I observed something because
we don't have any of those, Mark.
No.
Before I get around by mass transit and all along those lines, but in that space and in that kind of way. But I'm sitting there going like, wait a minute, there's just too much confusion going on and all along those lines. So I've got to definitely learn some more. So actually I'll get to the story before I get to the other one. When it comes to misfit hobbies and everything, is there certain hobbies that are better for misfits? Because what I observed earlier this evening, because like I said, I get bound by mass transit, so I was waiting for the transit, the bus to come by, and I noticed that a car stopped by in this vacant parking lot. And I had seen a couple of bicyclists go by, and I was trying to figure out why the young lady was adjusting her shoes and everything. And what I realized that she was doing as the bus came by was that she was putting on roller skates. So she was going to use the vacant parking lot to go roller skating because it's a vacant parking lot. So I'm wondering, is this a major hobby for misfits, going roller skating and everything? I didn't get a chance to meet the young lady, see what she's all about, but I would say she's probably, based on what the observation I made, would have said probably late 20s, early 30s. But she looked like she was ready to take advantage of this parking lot and do a lot of roller skating. It looked like she was not all that polished at it because she was trying to get her footing, to put it the best way of my observation. But is this a misfit hobby, roller skating?
I'm going to touch on that to your point. Before I answer that, with Greg on the line, I just feel this right now in my spirit. And we have structure, but we do things by the seat of our pants. And when I say by the seat of our pants, I feel like we do things because we're led by the Spirit. And Greg is about to go out of town. He lives in St. Louis for a looking for a kidney transplant. And I'm just asking for me, for him, for my family, Misfits Managed Nation. I just coined a new term there, Lauren. Did you notice that? Just pull that down and do the hashtag on that one. But Misfit Managed Nation. I need you guys to be praying for my cousin. His name is Gregory Yancey. I need you to be praying for him. I need you to labor and call down his name and shower heaven with his name because he needs a miracle. And we believe and we serve a God who is a miracle worker. And he knows the heritage that we come from. And that's the way we believe and how we roll. So um, much love, cuz, and standing strong, 10 toes down with you, and all is going to be well. Okay.
Can I take a moment on that? And I want to
Yes,
address
sir.
it.
Yes,
I want
sir.
to address this to Gregory as well, because I think that I told you, and I also agree that it is in his divine providence and in his whole future that he will get what he needs and all along those lines. And I can say that as one who has had a family member, because I still consider her a family member, even though it is not an official family member and all along those lines, because I think that I told you on one of our past shows, it might have been on the one with Gene, or it might have been even the one that you've been on with Stephanie and everything. But my brother's longtime girlfriend and everything, actually not that long ago, had a heart replacement, and she has done quite well.
Wow.
She has done quite well with that new heart. So she had a new heart put in, and she has been doing very well with that heart. And she actually had it during the pandemic. So she actually got the heart during the time of the pandemic put in her body, and she has done quite well. As a matter of fact, we saw her recently, and I can tell you that she is doing quite well. Is in the workforce still. Is taking care of her two kids. So much like Lauren has two kids, she's got a kid that is on his way to college, and another kid that just graduated from college and is now in the teaching profession, and all along those lines. So I'm saying all that to say that I have witnessed how it can work, and I have no doubt that it will be as good for your cousin Gregory as well. So I just want to give a testimonial based on what I have observed in my own family.
Well, I appreciate that. And this is what I love about my cousins. Look at my boy, Anthony and Marie Green, my cousins, showing up for another cousin and then just showing up for me, tonight. I put this out in the group chat, told them I had to go and put this out in the group chat, and look at them showing up. I appreciate love and family. So
Coach G's tribe.
Yeah.
I like this.
But hey, Mark, to your point earlier, got sidetracked, but squirrel. I believe a misfit. Again, we are not ordinary, so a misfit's got to do something that feeds their soul.
Right.
And to me, it doesn't matter what it is. There's no right, wrong. I mean, it's I guess in today's world, you got to clean that up a little bit. But if it feeds your soul, it makes you happy. It brings you peace. Brings you down and out of the craziness of the world. Then I think it's worth doing. So, I mean, to each his own. Obviously, we all have different beliefs and all of that. Mine are like writing or walking or hitting the heavy bag. Getting on the Xbox and playing a game.
Acting.
And I don't even, acting. Yes. I'm loving that. Well, I should shout that out too, but I'm gonna be good. What about you, Lauren?
Well, so I agree with you, but one thing I have learned about myself, especially, is there's we know I have a lot of different interests, all the things. There are some interests that they're fun to do. I can do them, but it's more of just almost a passing of time, or I got an adult coloring book and I got some sparkly pens, and if I don't have anything, it's fun, whatever. Sparkles. But there are things that if I do it, it brings me energy. Going to run gets those endorphins and brings me energy. Writing speeches, all that kind of stuff brings me energy. All that to say, I don't think there's a specific thing that we
Mhm.
should necessarily do. It is, as Coach said, to each their own. I do, however, think that we need to figure out what takes energy, what doesn't do anything with energy, and what sucks a little bit more, and know where that needs to go in your day.
Mm.
Hey, Lauren, along those same lines, because I was laughing. That's why I was laughing when you said the color and things, because there is a hobby that I will sometimes do, because there are apps on your phone and everything along those lines, and one of those apps is literally drawing by colors and everything. So it is a app that will literally give you numbers, and if you once you press the number, it will color
Yeah,
the picture in for you and everything along those lines. So I know that that is what some people would call a mindless activity, just like when I do the family tree activity as well, because that's another app that'll have you guess what the family tree would look like of this fictional family and all along those lines. But a lot of times people would say that those are mindless activities that may not actually have that much worth in the sense of what they are accomplishing. But sometimes you need to turn off the brain or turn it or have a different focus of the brain. So maybe
yeah,
not as much of the heavy thinking that goes on as I'm doing this regularly with the podcasting and my
right.
work in the event space. So sometimes just doing that very simple activity, because literally all I'm
Yeah,
doing is putting a number and then it's putting the color in for me and all along those lines. But it is something that is a rote activity that can still be fun, for lack of a better term.
Right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you can have things that are just, go out and make you laugh, or go, whatever it is. But there are things that also, um, light you up, give you the energy, feed your soul, all those kinds of things. So I do think there is, a better time during the day to do them than not, because if I write, it has to be in the morning or in the afternoon. If I start writing at night, I ain't going to bed.
Look at
Oh,
Greg. That's pretty good hobbies there, brother.
gardening and fishing. Gregory, I need to introduce you to my 5-year-old.
I was gonna say we got partners. We got partners here.
And but he said something very interesting, which is what I've heard from other fishermen as well and other people in some of their hobbies. Because he said whether he catches a fish or grows anything, it grounds him. And I have a neighbor that I think I've described to y'all before, that she is from Brazil and she has this garden that she takes care of, because there are a couple of people that are doing the apartment kind of gardening, her and another gentleman that I know as well. But at one time, I think this is her fourth or fifth year living here, she had a tall sunflower. So some of the gardening is for purpose, like the food that she will eat and everything, but some of it is for aesthetic purposes, because I'm thinking the sunflower is more of aesthetic purposes. But he was even
Right.
saying, as I've observed other people that literally just enjoy being out in that environment. And I even know some people that will catch a fish and even throw the fish back because they just enjoy the challenge of fishing and all along those lines.
Well,
Yeah,
but as a misfit, are we being intentional um, to set that time aside? Because again, I guess I would say one of the curses, if you want to say that, of a misfit is the creativity, the brain, the mind,
yep,
always rolling. So, like, I've just been thinking over the last couple of days. I remember as a minister, when I was studying and praying, laboring in that, I would do Sabbath time that I laid aside, and I called it, put it in my phone as Sabbath time. And that was my rest time. And that rest time was what we just said, whether that was actually sleeping, whether that was reading something outside of the word, whether
yeah,
that was playing a video game, going for a walk. That was my Sabbath time that juiced me up. And those are things I'm gonna add back. So I guess you'd call those my hobbies. That as a misfit, those are my hobbies that I'm gonna add back into my phone to be intentional to give myself Sabbath time, which is rest.
But in that same space, exactly what are we saying is a hobby? Because I think I've said on this show and other shows that one of the things that I enjoy doing, and sometimes you realize that you have watched multiple episodes and everything, but I do enjoy, and I might even go back as far as to when I was a child, some of the shows that I've watched, because I've definitely gotten into watching Rex and Hutch, which is about the detective and the dog. But I've also gone back and watched Kojak, and I've also watched, of course, the NSIs, or I think I said that right, and everything.
NCIS.
Yeah, that's right. And then I've also watched definitely the Criminal Mind and Criminal Intent and the various Law and Order. So some people
Love
would
them
say
all.
watching those shows is a form of a hobby, particularly if you are watching them over and over, because sometimes you're even seeing scenes that you don't remember, and sometimes you're even seeing episodes that you don't remember as well. Because I know that I've definitely gone and I've gone like, yeah, I remember that episode. Matter of fact, I know what happens at the end, and there have been other ones that I've watched. I'm going like, I don't remember this one. What exactly happens at everything? So there are a number of them, even Blue Bloods, which is a more current one.
Oh, I like Blue Bloods.
Love Blue Bloods. Love Blue Bloods. So
Love
many
Blue
lessons in Blue Bloods. Speaking of Blue Bloods, the family dinner. Family dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go, Greg. Yep, my brain's on
Sunday dinner.
1,000 too, man.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
on
okay.
that one.
So I got to speak into that a little bit because I totally agree with Gregory that creative brain is always on 1,000%.
Mhm.
And I struggle with that so hard and the end of my day, like a lot of people have trouble, turning it off.
Right.
And my creative brain is going so hard all day that I'm literally like done at the end of the day because my brain is so tired. I'm exhausted. And you ask me to do something and I'm like sitting there staring. I'm like, I don't know. I can't function anymore. And it is so hard to channel and learn how to channel that because we don't want to get rid of the creative aspects, right? The creative aspects are good, but how do you figure out where you need to be intentional? And I like to use the phrase, how do you engineer your day for you?
Well, so Lauren, we've learned another jewel of the journey that we've picked up along the way is, man, did I just lose my thought just that quickly?
Well, while you gather your thought and everything, does the family dinner, because you mentioned the family dinner earlier, does it involve gameplay? Because one of the things that I can tell you that goes on anytime that I go visit mom, and that sometimes even when I visit my aunt, is I can guarantee you that, particularly when I visit mom, the spinners, which is a form like dominoes, is going to come out and everything, and there might be a chance that Scrabble is going to come out as well. So there's going to be the dinner, which is the kind of the focal point, and of course watching movies and maybe even watching sports if it is sports season and everything. But I can almost guarantee that at the end of the day, before everybody goes to bed, there is going to be a challenge match, usually of spinners. It might be in the past Scrabble and everything. So I was wondering, in your two families, is this game culture a part of your own activities?
There's a game that my parents always loved to play, and it is called Sequence.
Yes, Sequence, and that's one of the games we play as well.
My parents love to pull that out, and it's hilarious because I never remembered which Jack took on which Jack. Did I say that right?
I don't know the game. I don't know.
I think so.
Because like a one-eyed Jack will put on, and a two-eyed Jack will take off. Anyway, we had to write that on the side of the board because I could never remember it. Shocking. But yeah, that was one of the big ones that always came out with us. But I don't know.
What about you, Coach? Was there games when y'all were getting your gathering? So does Gregory or Anthony and Mary challenge you in any certain games when y'all are having family time?
Well, I'd say my family games, probably with my inner circle, my family, my kids, and all of that. We was like Uno, spades, checkers, chess, that type of stuff. Monopoly. Those are the games that we played. So,
yeah, no doubt.
Oh my God, I got to get that thought back. That was such a good thought.
Well, according to your own cousin, it's because you're old.
Yeah, I knew he was going to jump on that one. Thanks,
I don't
cuz.
even know what we were talking about now.
Yeah, I totally lost my train of thought on that.
Was it about engineering your day?
Yes, engineering your day.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an interesting thing your cousin said as well, because I did face that from my grandma's side of the family on mom's side, because there were definitely games that we could not play when I was growing up because of the notion of the what the games may lead to. Because I do remember as a youngster that particularly on mom's side, you were not supposed to pull out card games, and I want to say you weren't supposed to pull out games that were games of chance that like had dice and things along those lines. But I do know
Right,
what you're
right.
talking about that definitely you couldn't play cards because they were very active in the church and everything. So I do remember that. And apparently Anthony was saying that they have comedy hours, so maybe they're sitting there doing comedy shows while they're gathering together and everything.
Well, see that my cousin saying that reminds me of ours. We did a roast. So like on
Oh,
vacations or holidays when all the family would be gathered together, we'd roast each other. And it was in the spirit of love. I mean, you open your mouth, you better be ready and put on your tough skin. Your big girl draws, your big girl panties. You better be ready to go because somebody was coming at you. But it was so much fun. I loved that back in the day. So, and probably no two greater roasters than my cousin Anthony, which we dub as AG now, but back in the day his name was Punkin. And then my cousin out of he was from St. Louis. They're both in Atlanta now, but Brian, man, when them two dudes roasted you, well, you better have a great comeback or have some tough skin. So
I want to come to comedy hour and the roasting. This sounds like fun.
our family is fun. It is fun. Well, if I did a show just on my cousins and put my cousins in this room, oh my God, that would be hilarious.
Well, you have to invite them on so that we can meet these cousins of yours
Yeah.
and your things. But yeah, the roasting, I don't remember us doing a lot of that, but I do remember spades being a game that folks would play. But there were definitely family members that and places that you couldn't play spades and everything, depending on who the relatives were. So it looks like Brian has joined the conversation as well. So you're
Oh,
saying,
just speaking of my boy, that's Atlanta Big Face right there.
Hi,
No,
Brian.
but I think what I was remembering was um what?
Gregory told me I wouldn't want to be there.
Yes, you would. It's fun time. But I think back to our point, I think we've answered our question already that we asked in the very beginning. That what is he saying?
they're both getting on Lauren's case. They're saying that Lauren can't hang and everything is basically what they're saying. But I don't
Oh,
know.
y'all,
I think
cuz
Lauren can
trust
hang.
me. Yeah, trust me, cuz Lauren can hang with us. Lauren can roll with us. She can dish. She can journ. So
Challenge accepted.
I have to get a couple of them that we do a little panel. You know, do
Can
do
I roast
do
y'all? I don't know
do
you,
the
but can I roast you?
do a show called The Greens.
Oh,
And they're already saying, nah.
they're over here crap talking. I see how.
And stay in your room.
They are giving her no love.
Wow, that's hilarious. Well, look at my cousins. I told you they don't play. You better have on your tough skin. They don't play.
Speaking of not playing, and while we're just slightly getting off topic and everything, but I have to tease y'all because
Boy,
if
did
I
we
remember
leave off
correctly,
topic.
both of y'all are in Kansas, correct? Both of you are in Kansas.
Yes.
Missouri,
How
but
far are
yeah,
y'all? How far are y'all from Lawrence?
45
45.
minutes. Yeah.
45 hours. The reason I ask is because my
Yeah.
fine folks here in Durham, we just stole your school board person. So our new leader of the school board came from Lawrence, Kansas, and everything. So he was a Kansas person, but now he is here in Durham, North Carolina. So we just kind of like kidnapped him away from your state and everything. So yeah, we just kidnapped him because I saw that on the news yesterday where they were announcing he was ready to take over and bring some order to our kind of disordered school system.
Oh my cousins are crazy, boy.
And your cousins will give you a hard time because they say
I
your church
know. Boy,
sucks.
They have totally taken me out of my zone tonight.
I think we're like on the Coach G roast.
Hey, but that's cool. It's cool. I can't. I
All
can't
right,
share. I can't share their business on the air. So I'm gonna be good, dude. I'm gonna be good.
all right, Coach. Tell me how you. Um. Ooh, it is like raining hard here. Anyway, more squirrels.
Squirrel, squirrel.
Squirrels. How do you figure out what to put in your day where when all the things hit you at once and when you got lots of things coming at you because you always have lots of things coming at you?
Yeah. So like for example, today, I go into the office and I'm a recruiter at a college
Yeah.
and I have on my schedule, I'm meeting with 3 students today. And I'm like, oh, lovely day. And it's spread out throughout the day.
Yeah.
I'll be able to make calls to recruit more students to get appointments. I'll be able to handle the students that I have coming, and I'll
Yeah.
be able to catch up on some of the things that I have with current students because we've got a start date coming this coming Monday on our core and clinical classes. So, boy, but that was not the day that I had today. It was literally one thing after another, after another, after another, fire after fire after fire. But I don't know, I kind of compartmentalize things and learn to put things in the proper focus and order. Some students I had to call back. Some students, their issue was a greater priority, and it maybe it affected other situations or other people. So I had to make that a priority and knock that one out first. But that's why I come home after work and my post work time to do my work, my personal work. That's why I'm always tired
Yeah.
because I spend so much energy on my job,
Yep.
burning for them, and I come home and there's not a whole lot left in the tank for me. So
Yeah.
I have got to get better at that. A friend of mine was just telling me that today. You give so much at work. You give so much of yourself at work, but as a misfit, how do we turn that off?
But not only that,
We're
but not only
creative,
that,
we're passionate.
I think that leads to being strategic about what activities place where.
right?
Where like I was making fun of myself the other day of me driving home in silence because I
Powerful.
yeah, but it lets me decompress and file
Mhm.
because when I get home, it's mass chaos.
Well, I agree where you're going, but I feel like you're about to say control the controllables. I can control my controllables, but what do you do when you have uncontrollables that pop into your schedule for that day?
What? Well, I would honestly, my first thought is set pre boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Block off your schedule to where it can't be scheduled over, where you know you need it.
Well, let me throw some context to help you answer this question because I want you
Yeah,
to.
I kind of
I
thought
know
that.
it's in you.
Well, hold on a
So,
second. Your cousin just added some context as well because he says that it was powerful what you're saying that you need to leave work
oh,
at work and everything.
I do a great job of that. Thank you, Greg, because I do a great job of that now. I used to bring that home,
Yeah,
but I'm talking about so today being a misfit
yeah,
and being the exception. So being the misfit who is an exceptional misfit, the Yoda of the misfits. No, I'm getting silly. Um, I had to take the recruiter business hat off
Ooh,
today and put on the minister hat. I had to
Mm.
put on the coach hat. When you have students coming to you with life issues that,
yeah,
you know, and I don't want to share stuff like that on the air, but some unbelievable situations today. The humanity has to step up in that moment and
yeah.
turn the business off, and schedules go out the window
Oh
basically
yeah,
to meet the need of that person that's in front of you or on the phone. And it was literally those were my fires today. I mean, one I can talk about student that um, is trying to progress herself, but has no support from her mother, no support from her father. She's got to fill out, because of her age, she has to do her financial aid. And because of her age, she's under 24. The FAFSA for the government requires her to be considered an independent or a dependent student, meaning her parents, one of them has to be on her FAFSA. Well, both of them refuse to do it. So the end result of that is that student now can't go to school.
Yeah, that's
Literally
heartbreaking.
just broke my heart today. How can you be that cold and evil to your child? The information that's provided has no effect whatsoever on the parent. They're not obligated to anything. It's not on their credit report, doesn't tie them to anything. It just helps the government understand the household income and how much need that student will require.
Right.
Simply put, and the both sides won't provide the information. So that was one of my issues today. Number one, how do I process that student through that? What do I tell them without dogging out their parents and saying their
Yeah.
parents are a bunch of idiots? It was that, yeah, it was that type of day, So it was, I don't know, it was smorgasbord of things today. I had to be minister, I had to be coach, I had to be mentor. I had to be the recruiter because I had the work to do, the 3 students that came in to see me today. So that was my day.
Can I
You just got
Uh-oh.
turned off the lights. I don't know what you did there. Or did she freeze?
Well, in Kansas City, we're going through a major storm right now.
No, she did mention a major storm earlier and everything because she did say there was a major storm. What you were saying that actually had me thinking hopefully Lauren will come back and everything. But one of the things I was thinking about was way back when in the ice ages. So your cousins can tease me because yes, I did go to college in the ice ages of the 80s and all along those lines. But in those ice ages, I remember that I actually went to college for 4.5 years, which beats my brother who went there for like 15 or 20 years in his college and everything. But I went there 4.5 years because I thought I had completed in the traditional 4 years, realized that I had a couple of credits short and everything. So I had to come back to school. And I do remember kind of like what you were talking about, that I came back with no real plan. Like I had no dorm or nothing along those lines. So
Right.
I unfortunately ran into a friend of mine who lived in a white fraternity and everything along those lines. So he let me live there my last semester and everything, because literally I did not know when I went there exactly what the finances were going to be, how I was going to get these last couple of courses that I needed in order to graduate, because I was a December graduate and because I had not done the correct paperwork, any place to stay. In universities, even back then, you're supposed to go through the process of like the lottery and figuring out where your roommate was going to be. So fortunately, my friend, and we're still acquaintances, even though I've not talked to him recently, but Danny Hermosillo, who is also in the media world as well, actually there in Texas and everything. And I think he's also done some business stuff. But yeah, he's like, hey, I'm a member of this fraternity and we got an extra room. Do you want to stay here? So that was literally my last residence in the college space, because I was unprepared, because I had not done enough preparation in that last semester as a young, not that smart 20-something-year-old.
Right.
So you do have to do that. I was just wondering, because one question, and Lauren disappeared. Hopefully she comes back. But like you said, there's that storm going on and everything. How much, because you mentioned the work and the kind of work you do, how much of the advice that you give to your students do you take yourself? Because I've oftentimes wondered that about people that are in an advice capacity and everything along those lines, because I know that it's easy to give advice, and sometimes the advice that we're given is advice that we should also be receiving as well. So I was just wondering, like, when the kids are coming to the school that you are teaching at, do you try to make sure that they are engaged in their hobby interests, whatever those hobbies are, in addition to their academic interests? So maybe not just the sports, but like if there's a chess club, and I don't know whether your university has a chess club and they're into chess, do you make sure that they are engaged in things that you have learned that they are interested in, and maybe even tell them to create something if there's a passion that they have that isn't there in their own college as of yet?
Well, yeah, I focus on, I always lead with what feeds your soul. I share my story with them because I see that as an icebreaker. It gives them a chance to understand who I am and the perspective that I'm coming from. So with that being said, then I allow them to share, and I end my speech, my spiel about me, that Gary 2.0, this new version of me, I do what feeds my soul. I might pass up on some really cool, awesome, great, spectacular opportunities, but if they lead me astray from feeding my soul, they're not worth doing. For example, here, 4 or 5 years ago, I've had several opportunities to coach some semi-pro teams here in Kansas City. So a semi-professional team, get paid a salary, be of a coach, traveling, be on TV, all this different stuff. As a basketball coach, you would think, oh my God, what a great opportunity. But for me, I'm sitting in there thinking about that was time away from my family. The money wasn't that great that I would have to leave a job to do that. And I'm dealing with grown men. In the other case, it was grown women that have already formed their thoughts and opinions in life, where I felt I was more effective with young people, high school age kids that are still forming their thoughts and their ideas. And I can really be a mentor, a coach, a father figure, an encourager, a supporter to those kinds of people. So as a misfit, you're going to surrender great things. I mean, I'll say good things for better things, great things for outstanding and spectacular things. And you just got to be wise in your choices. Anything that's going to take you away from what feeds your soul, it's just not worth doing.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm Lauren's back. And by the way, Gregory, yes, it did feel like the Animal House movie and everything, which I was only there for about a semester and all along those lines. So I only lived there that one last extra semester that I had to go in the 4.5 year plan and everything. But yes, I even remember one of those housemates even sent me a poster that he had gone after I had graduated of him at the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And he was just explaining what kind of trouble, and I'll just leave it at that he had caused it the Leaning Tower of Pisa and all along those lines. So I'm going like, yeah, you're still being a misfit, because yeah, I lived with a group of misfits there for a whole semester, because it was my last semester at Marquette, and I think it was about I want to say somewhere like 8 to 10 that were in that frat house. When you disappeared, Lauren, I was telling them that my last semester at Marquette, I had done some misfit stuff of not being totally prepared. So I did not know where I was going to live in my dorm. So one of my classmates had actually let me stay in their frat house. So my last semester was literally living in a frat house and everything. So that was because I did not have the traditional dorm assignment. So he was like, yeah, we don't know where you're living and you have no clue. So versus living on the streets, how about we let you stay at our frat house and everything?
Right,
So
right.
I stayed there.
Hey, Lauren, but especially since my family's here tonight,
Yeah.
I want to pivot. I want to pivot if you don't mind, and I
Let's
want to
do it.
put you on spotlight here since you were gone. Because I want you to share.
Okay.
This is an opportunity. This is a new audience of people that haven't never seen us before. But let's pivot and reintroduce Misfits Managed to a new group of people. Because I'm telling you, this is a group of people is very connected, especially Brian. Brian is one of the who's in Atlanta in music. He's an author, a new author. He's a musician, world-renowned musician. Brian is just insane in Atlanta and across the world. So great opportunity for us to explain to them so that they can explain to others what Misfits Managed is and how it originated. And I think there's no one better that can do that than you.
Oh, geez. Here we go. All right. So there was one Christmas service that I was sitting by myself in church listening to a sermon, and the pastor was relating the movie Rudolph to, I don't know, he was talking about misfits in it. And he was talking about how, what's the elf's name? Anyway, the elf in there that doesn't want to be an elf. He wants to be a dentist. And he gets shunned, basically. And he goes to the island of misfits. And he started relating this, saying, like, all the land of misfit toys, and that they they have their own little spot, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, misfits. Like, they are, as Coach G would say, like, it's biblical. And he chooses to leave what he should do to then go against the grain and say, no, I'm going to go be a dentist because that's what I want to do, whether you accept me or not.
Right.
So that's kind of originally where it started. And then I think I sat on that trying to muddle it and figure out what was going on, what I wanted to do with it for probably a good 6 to 9 months. And I couldn't figure it out. And then I had been in this podcast space doing my own podcast, and I thought, you know what? We need a space for people who are a misfit, people who feel different, to be at home, to not feel alone, people who I want to make being different a good thing, because otherwise it's so isolating. And I wanted to form a community. And G and I over here had been in a group together, and there was one time we were both at an event together, and I sat there and I said, you know what? I wonder if he'd want to do this, because I didn't want to do it by myself. I needed somebody that could play off my personality and just kind of shoot back and forth with each other and make being a misfit a good thing. Well, the other piece of that is that I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd. And how does Fred and George find themselves around Hogwarts and the village right outside? They use the Marauder's map to where, if you are not using it, it is a blank sheet of parchment. But they pointed their wand at it and said, I solemnly swear that I am up to no good. And it would show them where people were walking so that they could not get caught, essentially, and go do their thing, go do what they wanted to do. And when you were done, again, you would point the wand at it and say, mischief managed. And I loved the idea of that, because Harry then uses it later in the series to do things for the good. He uses it to get out of the castle and go see his friends, but they use it to be helpful and, make progress in everything that is Harry Potter. And so I said, okay, let's form a community. Let's form a podcast to where it is all about making being misfits a good thing.
Yes.
And being different a good thing, because
Exactly, Greg.
yes, because you never feel like you fit in, but at the same time, being a misfit is also, when you embrace who you are as a misfit, it helps you to have that magnetic pull, and it will bring you together with your fellow misfits. And so and wouldn't you know it, the book of Luke is all about being an outcast, a misfit. Who did Jesus go to? He went to the misfits, the outlaws, the people that nobody thought were good. I mean, I could expand on that all you want, but
what's powerful
yes,
about that is we never intentionally try to bring faith into Misfits Managed, but how
comes
do you
time.
become a misfit without bringing faith into it? Because the originator of misfit is God. I mean, the Bible is loaded, as you just started to say, with
Yeah,
misfits. The people who society wouldn't have picked or wouldn't have chosen.
yeah.
David's own father wouldn't have picked him. I can't even say wouldn't, didn't.
I
His
was gonna
own
say,
father didn't, and his brothers didn't pick him. Not
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
The Bible is just full of that, and it's somewhere
Yeah.
in society we've forgotten that. We've gotten away from that, and we
Yeah.
glorify those people that are out front, but they're carbon copies of somebody else.
Yep. So my goal, and I think, G, you've kind of caught on to this, is how do we make it a community? How do we help people flip the script on being different and being a misfit? Because no matter where else you hear it, people talk about misfits and it's a diss.
Right.
And we've heard so much good about, um, you know, what we talk about, and your favorite subject of being the exception.
I was
Um,
just about to go there.
the jewels of the journey come out every single day, and in the end, we have to figure out how to be okay with ourselves. If the scenario that I always like to go back to, of you feel like you're standing in a crowded square butt naked and say, here we go, here I am. And what are you
Right.
going to do to me? Because you see everything. Here's all that I am. Let's go.
Yeah. Hey, just really quickly, I did find the name for you and everything. The Misfit, and by the way, the elf got his dentistry license, so he's now a licensed dentist. But it is Hermie. Hermie is the elf. 2014 is when he became an official dentist. So he's been wanting to be a dentist for 50 years, but then he became an official dentist in 2014. So he's been a dentist now for 10 years, and all along those lines. I was actually reading two articles that really plan to play into what y'all saying about misfits, because I'm going to give you two examples of modern day misfits that people may not think of as misfits, but if we think about the narrative, they actually are misfits and everything, and they are actually famous people. But if I read their novel and a little bit about their history, they have some misfit qualities, and one of them you're going to love. So I'll start off with him.
I love the
But
misfits
um,
quality.
Bronny James, who is now a Laker in a lot of ways, is a misfit because he is definitely dealing with his health issues. And yeah, he might be LeBron's son, but if you think about what he's going to have to face as a potential Laker and even what he's gone through in his own health journey, I would argue that in a lot of ways, while LeBron may not be a misfit, his son, Bronny, is a misfit in everything. And the other thing that I was reading that made me think about misfits as I was reading about the first lady, the current first lady, Jill Biden, and everything. And one of the things that she said is that this current time isn't the first time that she was having a moment as being asked to have her husband run for president and everything. So Joe Biden was actually first asked to run against George Bush. And apparently in a article, and she put this in one of her books and everything, she was literally fuming while she was out at a swimming pool in her bikini and all along those lines. So she was fuming because she did not at that time want him to run for president and everything. So she literally walked out, and you're going to love this, Lauren. She walked out as the Democrats were out there trying to get him to run at that particular time. She noticed a Sharpie. Yeah, everybody knows the Sharpie and all along those lines. So she literally wrote the letters no on her stomach and walked through in order for him to get the message that she did not want him to run at that particular time. So you can imagine a younger Jill Biden walking through all these kind of stern Democrats and everything with a no printed on her stomach and everything, as if to say, no, we're not doing that this time and everything. So if that's not a misfit move, I don't know what is.
Right.
Got the
And I'm
message
loving.
across.
I love
Really,
Greg's
that's
comment
what
there.
everybody said. He got the message across, and he did not run that time.
Yeah, I love Greg's comment down there.
I was just looking at that, and
I mean,
we
he already embraces what we're talking about.
yeah.
It's like he's already been in some of the shows. I mean, because that's almost by definition how we've been describing this movement that we're trying to create.
Yeah. All right, Coach, I gotta ask, because I just thought about this. Isn't AG the one that posted the post that I always refer to? I am giving you props, AG, because you tagged Gary in something, and I keep referring to it about who was it? I think all the like famous weird people that own all the
Yeah, he made a list of all the great people in the
Yeah, I
world.
don't know who it was. I could have recited the names back when he first did it, but um, all the people that have pretty much given the society and what everybody wants them to do the middle finger and said, "Watch me." I did a post on this the other day about that.
Right.
Anyway, you can give me all the criticism you want. Watch me do this because why not?
Well, but we live in a society today that teaches us all to be followers and to be
Yeah,
average.
yeah,
Followers and to be average. And I remember as a coach, I used to tell my kids all the time, nothing God created was average.
average.
Nothing God created was average, and that includes you. Why are
Yep,
you so hard on me, coach? Why do you push me so hard? Why are your expectations so high of me? Because nothing God created was average. And that has to start to become the theme of a misfit. You are not average. You weren't created to fit in a box. You were created to be extraordinary. Extraordinary. You were to be unique, to be the exception.
yeah,
That's why it drains us to be in the box with the crowd and looking around at the other two spaces. We're not meant to be in the crowd. Sometimes some of us are meant to just stand alone. And as Greg, to his point, and as we stand alone in our own strength and God is strengthening us,
yeah,
he will allow us to be seen, and those that resonate with our story, our heart, our energy will be drawn to us like a magnet. It's powerful.
yeah.
It's powerful.
We've already experienced it.
Right. Right. I feel like this kind of ties into what we talked about last week, where
Yeah,
we talked about we're at this cleft, of the mountain, and we can almost smell the blessing. We can hear the celebration. We can hear the cooking and the barbecue. Um, we hear the noise. We
yeah,
know we're right there because we are on the brink of something special, Lauren.
yeah,
We're about to set a movement on fire in this country where, because I know people are tired of being someone else that they're not.
Yes.
People's deepest desire is to be themselves.
Mm-hmm. You
It's
know,
exhausting being something that you're not.
but it's also exhausting, kind of to your point and everything, because I know a lot of people that are afraid to step into their greatness. Because I think that that's something that misfits are also
Mhm.
very good at, and everything is that they're willing to accept who they are. But there's a lot of people that are great in a number of things, and they are not willing to step into that greatness. I'm thinking about the potential person that might be the next Serena Williams or the next Tiger Woods, but they're
Right.
sitting there
yep,
listening to the negative talk and everything, and not even trying to pursue that dream and everything. Because that same gentleman I was talking about with the family reunion at the beginning of the show, he's got a group of young tennis players. So I was just glad that he was telling me that he wants to bring those young tennis players to the cultural center that I work at so they can learn about their history, because too often we don't understand enough of our history or enough of
yep,
our path in life and everything in that
yep.
space. So that's definitely something that I was just glad that he's open to bring, I think, in the next week or two and all of those lines. But I'm just thinking about the people that are great tennis players or great track runners, and they have let their family members get in their head and aren't even pursuing their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I'm gonna piggyback off Coach G real quick and bring this lovely night to a close. You were just talking about how it's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you figure out how to not make it exhausting? You embrace it. You figure out what all this stuff means for you. You figure out how to work your energy, and you figure out all the things that you like to do and what it looks like for you. Should you not know where to start with that, hit us up. We can dig in with you,
Right.
um, talk you through it, and you get both of us. So if you would like to, try a quick consult with Misfits Coaching, let us know wherever you can leave a comment, and we'll hit you up. Get
I
your
think
energy back on point.
right. I think the power behind that is that we're different in so many different ways, Lauren.
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
one right. I mean, literally everything. There's so many things that we're in agreement with
Yeah.
that's powerful, but there's so many things that we're completely opposites in.
Yes.
Um, we can name them and just going on, but I mean, it's some of that stuff's just obvious. But um, I think that's the power of Misfits coaching is
Yep.
there's a balance that's brought to the conversation when you talk to us that we can throw a biblical viewpoint at you. We can throw a secular viewpoint at you. We can throw a humanistic, so many different avenues and then different levels of experience and exposure.
Yeah.
We've had different traumas and, all the different things that we've faced. But you get all of that. You get the best of Coach G. You get the best of Lauren. And I think that's going to just be powerful. So I'm excited for that. And a new step of evolution for Misfits Managed.
Yeah.
And Gregory's got other comments as well. He says, who was it in the Bible that said, it's good that I'm here. We want our path to match someone else, but God has us there here for a definite reason. So definitely some great words from your cousin Gregory and all along those lines. So he was also that he loved this conversation and everything.
Yeah, he's powerful too. He's powerful too. And just the journey he has been on because he's been sick dealing with his kidney. But man, you would never know, dude is sick because he's a warrior. He's a warrior. But I want to say my cousins, shout out to my cousins because they're all misfits.
Yeah.
All of us on our chat, we're all misfits because we know what we've been called to and what like our parents, their expectations are. And we have dared to be different. We have dared to be different. We don't disrespect tradition, the foundation that has been laid by those other people. But who in the world's that? Welcome.
We got somebody on Twitch that's not one of your family members, but he's popped up and he was just watching as well. So apparently they're into football and all along those lines. And speaking of that, he is not one that is one of those, but I might have to see if we can get your cousins to match because I just got an email from the fantasy football league that my brother got me into. So it's getting ready to celebrate its 15th or 20th year. I lost track, but I can tell you that all of those gentlemen who are mostly my brother's friends would probably be what y'all have been defining as misfits in one form or fashion or another. So I definitely got to find a way to get them out there because I think we've got a draft coming up. So definitely those are misfits in a variety of spaces and all on those lines. And whenever y'all are ready to end, I'm not rushing anybody and everything. I think that in honor of Lauren and some of the women that are watching and everything, I will go out maybe with the mental health video, but I've also got a video about a group of people that can sometimes be strongly misfits or categorized as misfits, and that is women in tech. So I've got a advertisement about women in the tech field and all along those lines, because sometimes that is a glass ceiling and they may see themselves as misfits as well.
Indeed.
Well, before you say that, Lauren, I want to end on this. And my note is on you because I know you beat yourself up so much. And our conversations that we have are so powerful. But I can't say it enough how proud I am of you for stepping out of your comfort zone and doing things that are in your heart, things that feed your soul. That you may not always get the support that you feel you need, but I'm so honored and blessed every time I'm on the show with you. Again, I was asked by several other people to do different things as early as this past weekend. But I'm just so honored and blessed to be your co-host and sit at your side and do these shows together because I think the way we connect and bounce off each other is just so incredibly powerful. And the people are starting to listen and hear and feel and sense what we're trying to build here. So I know this is just the grassroots beginning of something really powerful and special. So I just want to end it with honoring you today, my sister.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
You're going to make me cry.
Don't be doing that. There's no tears in Misfit. That Miss I can't even talk.
There's lots of tears in Misfits.
I know, we cry all the time.
There's tears, there's laughter, there's everything. But right now, we're ready to get on out of here with this
All
women
right.
in tech and all in that space, and maybe one around mental health as well. But it's always been a fun conversation, and you two are masterful hosts. Always glad as producer to join the conversation and give you all a little bit of humor in my own unique way and everything along those lines. But definitely, let's get on out of here with this women in tech and advice from women that are in that tech.
Your boy, Coach G.
And Lauren. We out.
Yeah.
My advice to women seeking leadership roles in technology is to be confident.
I would recommend to speak up.
I think it's really important as you pursue a role in technology to have unshakable optimism.
I can't stress enough the value of mentorship.
When I think about any large career move, I ground it in 3 pillars, and that is purpose, potential, and people.
Use your voice, raise your hand, and be confident in your own abilities.
Just speak up. Say what you feel, say what you think. Don't be intimidated by men around the table or other people more senior than you.
Enjoy solving problems. Each and every single day, depending who you're working with, you need to be able to enjoy that process.
Find females who will support you and share their experience as to how they navigated the tech industry and how they're currently navigating the tech industry. Your voice matters, your opinion matters, and you're there for a reason, so use that.
But when you have a clear sense of purpose and a clear sense of why, not only does it help you go through your crucible moments, it actually inspires your team to rally around you.
Be an FIO person, which just means figure it out. You may not know, but find a way and get it done.
Women tend to be less likely to apply for promotions, to speak up in meetings, or apply for new roles if they don't feel like they have all of the skills required to be successful. The fact of the matter is, seldom does anyone, so why couldn't that opportunity be yours?
I just need to be left alone right now, man. No, Cam. I think the problem is that you've been left alone way too much.
Life's hard. The world is complicated.
Remember, you are not alone.
Love you, girl. I love you too.
Mental health challenges are common, treatable, and often preventable.
It's time to talk about it.
It's time to defy the fear and stigma that has made so many suffer in silence.
Instead, dare to love yourself and others.
Dare to ask for help and support.
I love you guys.
Dare to listen and show up for the people around you.
Join the conversation.